How's it hanging, you racist? I'm Dave Rubin.
I wish I had a good answer for that. I don't have a ready-made answer. You know, be manly, be brave, be courageous, blah, blah, if you're a man, and be womanly if you're a woman. You know, don't laugh, Vicky. Like these are terms that have some meaning under them. It's just that I wasn't prepared to answer the question. I'll write a list, okay? I'll write a list. Look, you have to do these things, and if you don't do these things, you're not a woman. Behold.
For me, working out and feeling like I have a hot body makes me feel confident.
That's right, I'm a conservative.
Actually, no. For sure, life is better today. But I'm not a future human. I'm a current human. And in my current state, there's tactile experiences that I enjoy. I like kissing. I like holding hands. I like shaking a person's hand when I meet them. I like drinking whiskey. I like driving cars. I like shifting my own gears. I like opening doors for myself. Whenever there's one of those things where like you step towards it and the door opens up, I never use those fucking things. I grab that handle. I open that bitch up. I like opening doors. I want to experience things.
Yeah.
I want to interact with the world. I like interacting.
Dawn face reveal coming soon, but you know, I'm a little nervous about letting you guys see my face. You know. You might find out that I smoke and have a beard.
You know, say for example, people who don't wash their hands, then you know you basically bully them through proper propaganda, and then you know maybe you're kind of signaling to other unhygienic people that you know we're going to come for you next. Do you know what I'm saying? There's a sort of that secondary audience.
Have you chaps seen in shops and things and on various streets they have those posters up? Well, the most recent one I saw was in a train station where it's got sort of a cartoon of a woman not wearing a mask correctly in various ways and giving them sort of like funny nicknames and encouraging you to sort of call them out for it. Have you seen those at all? Because that's what this is essentially reminding me of.
Yeah. It's very sick actually what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think
I haven't seen that mask thing. Let me see if I can find that.
Yeah. And I mean, of course, the terrible thing is that the names are kind of quite weak, and you know, it's
crap,
the sort of it's sort of a sort of like liberal soy sort of manager's attempt to pick on someone. You know, it's like, come on.
Let's make a rule that we don't violate the Fourth Amendment, and that'll kind of stop the whole fucking thing. You can't take people out of their homes. That's it. You can't make people wear shit they don't want to wear. That's it. Problem solved. No more worry of the Nazis rising again because we got these rules that you have to abide by no matter what. You're scared of the wrong thing. It's not about normalizing. Doesn't fucking matter if it's the most normal thing in the world to just walk outside and see a guy dressed like Goebbels are walking around. It doesn't matter because we have rights that you can't take from us. You cannot round us up. You can't do it. That's illegal. But we always break it. We break it every fucking time. We took the Japanese and locked them up. Every country breaks it all the fucking time.
No, it's the myth of rights.
Yeah. So how about you, officer? Instead of worrying about this hysteria of normalizing anything, just stick to the fucking plan. Yeah. Do not do this. Don't abrogate speech. Don't collect our guns. I don't know the third one, but the fourth one is do not seize us. Don't take our shit. Don't take us ever, ever, ever. Ever. That's the beauty of these rules. You don't have to worry about anything else. Anyway.
We actually don't have a constitution. Ours actually, our laws kind of just get made up and edited, you know, as we go along.
What a fucking
Theresa May,
mess.
I actually think, is repealing our current Bill of Human Rights so it can be rewritten to be more modernised. I was just sort of like, how can you just sort of decide as you go along what fucking rights we deserve as humans?
Yeah.
Like, no joke, that's something that is actually happening.
I mean,
that's scary to me.
It is scary. This whole thing is scary.
Like,
Nanatolova. Or,
yeah, Russian lady.
Yeah. She was never very good at tennis, but she generated a lot of money because she was smoking hot.
Interesting.
By traditional standards. I don't think she was attractive.
But I don't know tennis players, man.
Martina
I know, what's her name? Megan Rapinoe? The soccer player lady?
The pink-haired feminist soccer player that whines about gender wage gap. She was in the White House this week talking
about wage gap stuff.
Well, haven't we won this argument? It's not a...
No, you don't understand. There are people in media who lie, who are dumb, and there are dumb people who believe the lies.
The dumbness constantly cycles back forever.
But I mean, like...
You'll always be witness to it again.
For the last 10 years, it's been like... my dunk arm is sore because I've been... like, it's like... It's not a wage gap, my friends. It's an earnings gap. And you know, if a man makes more money than a woman for doing exactly the same job, it's illegal. And like, nobody wants to hear that. Like, show me a man doing the same job as a woman where the woman makes less, and I will agree. Who's always says that? Is that a Rubenism? No, Shapiro does that.
Does what?
Show me a woman who makes less money than a man for doing the same job, and we will agree. But if you don't, that like you know, like it doesn't exist because it's illegal.
Under lockdown.
I buy vape because I quit smoking, and I don't even buy alcohol. I don't keep an ounce of alcohol in my house. I only drink when I go out with other people, and I hardly ever do that these days because fuck the masks. I hate going to fucking places and having to wear the masks and shit.
You put in one bad executive, and they start just doing weird things. Even if they're not involved in the day-to-day process, eventually an email pops up where they scream bigotry, disrupt operations, slug up the time, and then everything starts getting jammed up, and they will perform worse than a company that doesn't have that, weirdo person.
Yeah, but that doesn't prevent them from getting the job. What I'm saying is that diversity quotas are freaking real. They're real. And if they can't fill it in an existing role, they create them. And that's why you end up with the diversity czar or whatever the hell it is. Yeah.
Chief diversity officer.
Yeah. Like, that's what it's real. Like, that
what
shouldn't
really
be controversial to say.
When they create the position called, like, the Office of Diversity, Inclusivity, and
by the way, it's never
equity,
a man that has that job.
When they create these positions, they're basically akin to creating the Chinese Communist Party offices in Chinese businesses. They want their church in every company, and they're winning. They're getting these things. Imagine every company had to have a Christian church and chaplain to administer the proper Christian ideology to what the business does. That's what they're doing with the diversity, inclusivity, and equity stuff.
Do you know how these job negotiations go? It's like the mob, or it's like when you're black and you get pulled over in a small town. Like, ooh, your taillight's out. Like, oh, that's a nice business you have there. Sure would be a shame if something happened to it. You should
we accused you of being a bigot.
Yeah, you should probably hire me. I have $150,000 in college debt from Columbia, and I have a degree in gender studies. You should probably hire me as a diversity czar. If you look at every major video game company, Riot Games, Blizzard, they all have these roles, and they're all completely useless, and they all make huge money. It's like a mafia.
Neil Druckmann is a very progressive individual. He is a male feminist, and he is a video game creator. He likes Anita Sarkeesian. He shows contempt towards the gaming community, which is his consumer base. And that's the type of individual Neil Druckmann is. On the opposite side, you have someone like Amy Hennig. Now, Amy Hennig is a person that maybe a lot of gamers don't know by name, but they definitely know her works. She created games like Soul Reaver. She created games like Uncharted. She was an amazing writer and a huge contribution to the video game industry. Now, what's interesting is that Amy Hennig is not the type of person that parrots Anita Sarkeesian. She doesn't believe that there is sexism within the video gaming industry. She believes that the men around her helped her up rather than try to keep her down. And she has positive things to say about gamers. So on one hand, you have a male feminist, which advocates that more women should be placed in positions of power. And in another example, you have a woman that's already in a position of power, and her contribution to the industry are just too great to count. What happens? Well, Neil Druckmann ends up ousting Amy Hennig from the company, takes her place, and the media claps at him for it. Why? Because he believes in the correct things. Amy Hennig does not believe in the correct things. Even though when you look at the actions, one person is actually furthering the goal of feminism by being a woman in a position of power in the gaming industry and by setting a positive example that many gamers are loving. But on the other hand, you have this person that shows contempt for the audience, is actually ousting a woman from the company, places himself on top, and then keeps lecturing people about why we need more women in the video gaming industry as he is kicking women out of the gaming industry. But it doesn't matter what his actions are. It doesn't matter. What matters is that he has the correct opinions. He says the correct things. He talks the correct talking points, and he believes in the correct things, which is why the gaming press loves him and barely talks about Amy Hennig whatsoever. In fact, you probably don't even know who Amy Hennig is. Why? Because the culture, which is amplified by the press, is completely suppressing that information. They're gatekeeping that information from you.
And the thing is, right, I don't even agree that what they're describing as hate is actually hate. You know, this is the thing. We disagree fundamentally on what hate speech is. I don't
even agree hate speech exists.
Yeah, I was saying I don't think it's a thing. And, but the concepts involved, I do not necessarily think are hateful that are being called hateful. I think it's left-wing interpretation, deliberate misinterpretation that is framing things as being hateful, and not that these things are necessarily hateful. But anyway, it doesn't even matter. Hate speech is free speech.
I don't need my heart, liver, and all that stuff like where I'm going, right? I'm getting shoved in an oven, right? And I'm going to have my ashes put in a cannon and fired at Nicola Sturgeon.
Good morning. Somebody's brought it to my attention that I should probably introduce myself at the beginning of these things. So I am Don the Pleb. That comes up occasionally where people go, who the hell is Don? Don is me. And for some reason, I'm really tiny today. Let's just go ahead and move me back up there. Make me not, I know. Manlet jokes. Manlet joke time. Chat, if you don't have manlet jokes, I am going to be sad at you.
When you die, I go into your garden and steal your barbecue, and then your family are like, what the hell are you doing? And I'm like, well, he didn't say I couldn't take it. He has to opt out.
Chance the Rapper. This is a NASA physicist. He's got a picture of a black lady here.
Yeah.
This is a NASA physicist who invented 3D movies and television. Her name is Valerie Thomas. Invented television.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know.
Happy Black History Month. Here's the black woman who invented television. Are you sure? Is it just make shit up that black people invented? For what? I know that Valerie Thomas didn't. Philo T. Farnsworth invented the fucking television. I know that because I only know one motherfucker named Philo T. Farnsworth, and it's the motherfucker who invented the television.
I didn't know that.
It was in 1928.
Yeah.
It was there were no pictures like this of the inventor of the fucking television because it happened in the 20s.
Yeah.
Have you seen Zuck drink a glass of water? Yes. Press secretary looks like Zuckerberg's twin. Yes. But we're going to have to circle back on that. Speaking of which, by the way, if you have not listened to the press secretary talk about anything, you should. You should, because it's all we're going to have to circle back on that. Every single question. Which is amazing, because if that is how being the press secretary, like, I'm going to get back to you on that one. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to get back to you on that one. We'll get back to you on that. I'll circle back around with you, bro. We'll get back to you on that. I don't have the answer to that question, but we're going to have to go ahead and circle back for you. See, that's it. I'm the next press secretary. Just me.
So the reason that the people of Scotland are calling him Adolf Yusuf, this is really where he made his name. This is how he got famous. This is how he became internationally notorious, in fact.
So just to mention his position as well. So he's a SNP politician who is in charge of justice. Yes. He is their justice minister.
And for anyone who doesn't know, the Scottish National Party are a pro-European party who want Scotland to leave the United Kingdom and join the European Union, which is not very independent.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird. But anyway, let's play the first clip.
The Lord President, white. The Lord Justice Clerk, white. Every High Court judge, white. The Lord Advocate, white. The Solicitor General, white. The Chief Constable, white. Every Deputy Chief Constable, white. Every Assistant Chief Constable, white. The Head of the Law Society, white. The Head of the Faculty of Advocates, white. Every prison governor, white.
Now, you might think, wow, this guy sounds like a massive racist, but actually he's just arrived at the Edward Longshanks position on Scotland.
Trouble with Scotland is that it's full of Scots.
He's exactly right. Scotland is absolutely full of Scots. I mean, the next census will give us a more accurate rundown of how many Scots are in Scotland, but the last count, it was something like 96% Scottish.
So, big surprise. I'm sure he never knew this when him or his family or whoever first immigrated to Scotland.
Anyway, so what's the deal with the hate crime law?
So he has been campaigning for ages to get his little hate crime law passed. I wanted to go to the first link, which is the BBC article, just laying out the, let's say, state position on this, because I don't think they're very sympathetic to the free speech guys. They're not of interest to us. But they lay it out as, oh, it's just a controversial hate crime law. No, it's not. Like, this is horrible. So the first thing it does, which is interesting, which is it abolishes a blasphemy law from 175 years ago.
Important.
Which is good.
I'm sure it was being enforced constantly.
But then they just replace it with their own blasphemy laws against wokeism. So under the bill, sentences are increased if they involve prejudice on the basis of age, disability, race, religion, sexual orientation, transgender identity, various forms of... Oh, God, it goes on and on. And it
woke
just doesn't
supremacy.
Stop.
It's woke supremacy, Don Lemon.
So it also creates new offences of stirring up hatred, which previously only applied to race, but they have now got it to apply to literally anything wokest side as a privileged position.
But that very word, stirring up hatred, I mean, that is such a completely ill-defined term. That could be anything.
Because this is defined by leftists, who, I mean, everyone who watches the show will know they define anything they dislike as hatred.
Yeah.
You are hate. And it's
Yeah.
like, well, okay, I go to jail then, I guess. I'll see you later.
Yeah.
So this applies even to conversations within your own home. They used to have the dwelling defense, so you said it within your house, therefore you're free. But no.
Please don't arrest me, Governor. I said it in my house. No, that's no longer a defense.
Defense of speaking in my own home is no longer a defense in Scotland. So I'm sorry, Scots. Like you're, I mean, this is horrible.
You voted for this
under the Polish constitution with a new free speech board. Where can we get me one of them? Yeah. Can you imagine the United Kingdom Free Speech Board? Got semi just thinking about it.
And ordered SpaceX to comply with the subpoena. On December the 11th, 2020, SpaceX said it had received the order but notified that it did not intend to produce any additional information in response to the administrative subpoena. Based and red-pilled Musk? I think Mr. Musk should, on his own, file a class action lawsuit against the DOJ. For perpetual harassment against an African American. I'm just saying.
Adolf Yusuf made a statement. None of these people would fall foul of the stirring up offence for solely holding their belief.
Oh, yeah.
No one believes you.
Oh, yeah, I'm very reassured. If that's not the case, why do you even need this in the first place? Like, what are you trying to criminalise with this, if not that? I mean, Hamza Yusuf seems to be a woke supremacist who seems to be stirring up hatred against the Scots. Oh,
that's how this law will be applied. The Scottish Labour Party were upset that it didn't go far enough because it didn't include privileges for sex. So Adolf Yusuf also tried to defend himself on Twitter, which is the next one, in which he got incredibly ratioed, which was good to see. But this is him sort of defending that, oh, there's a high standard for being prosecuted, I swear. He also says that there's freedom of expression clause that gives safeguards. These safeguards are under the European definition of what free speech is, which is you have it until you exercise it. I'm not joking. The responsibilities that it is not used to harm morals, health, and so on and so forth. So it's like, right, so you have the right, but you have the responsibility not to use it. Right. And Dankula pointing out that this is just a lie. This is a complete pack of lies. He used these defenses. He used these points in his own case, and they were just disregarded.
Yeah, the reasonable man test can be disregarded in Scottish courts. It was in mine. Oh, good.
Yeah, so the response from this is of course mocking Hamza Yusuf, because there's not much else you can do. I did love seeing this.
Yep.
Apparently someone's putting up Hamza Yusuf signs in Scotland.
Adolf Yusuf, yeah.
So that's absolutely great.
Yeah, so, I mean, like, nobody is impressed with this. So one of the Queen's counsellors, a lawyer called Thomas Ross, said the SNP ministers had failed to properly define offences included in the proposed hate crimes bill. This was back in July 2020. He said it would be impossible for Scots to know if they'd committed a crime, which could lead to a debate on controversial subjects being stifled. Well, I think that's the point. Why else would you need these kind of laws? And the vague language in the bill could lead to serious offenders being acquitted. Serious concerns have been raised, including over vague language in reference to inflammatory material, and of course the section of stirring up hatred that signals that someone could be charged over comments perceived to be offensive, even if that was not intended. But I mean, I hate this. I hate the fact that they're like, oh yeah, well, you're not allowed to offend people. Man, I love offending people. Mr. Ross said, if the Scottish Government is going to create an offence that can be committed unintentionally, drafters of the legislation have to make the essentials of the offence crystal clear, but they've failed to do that. So you've unintentionally broken the law. You didn't even realise. The bill would move even further from policing and criminalising the deeds and acts to the potential policing of what people think or feel, as well as the criminalisation of what's said in private. It's nice to see that people of renown and expertise in the subject are like, Humza, you're looking like a Nazi, what are you doing? And so Humza watered down his bill in September 2020. He bowed to the pressure of, about this stirring up hatred clause. And he said that he would change the bill so a crime could only be committed if there was intent to stir up hatred against minority groups.
The intent decided by the court.
Exactly. And this is the thing. This is how Dankula got. Because his intent was very clearly to make a joke for the internet. But they were like, no, your intent was to hurt the feelings of Jews in Scotland. It's like, well,
you were trying to cause a genocide with your pug.
What Jews in Scotland? What are you talking about? Like they found the 3 Jews in Scotland, and they were like, "Yep, that's good enough for us."
Yeah. I mean, this is a reminder of how bad the police and the situation is in Scotland. The police got offended and wrote to the Jews, "Can you please be offended on our behalf?"
Was it the Council of Scottish Jewry or something?
They literally sent them the video, like, "Please be offended." Now we can get him.
Yeah, and they had to prompt them to make a complaint because there were no complaints about Dankula's video prior to that. So I mean, like, again, you saying white. Is that not hatred against a group based on their race? And the answer is, of course, yes, but they're not a minority, so it doesn't count.
All of this is viewed through a Marxist lens of oppressor and oppressed.
Yes.
And the white people are the oppressors, the non-white people are the oppressed, and therefore you can be as hateful and stirring up hatred all you want towards the oppressor. I mean, this is why Anglophobia is probably the only accepted bigotry in the UK.
Well, there are too many Scots in Scotland, according to Humza Yousaf. And Edward Longshanks.
I was too busy breaking lockdown rules and was gallivanting across the countryside and then getting lost and then getting into extreme weather. So that was fun.
Yeah, well, enjoy, because they're going to start needing to lock down everything. Dawn needs an anime girl avatar. No.
Getting rid of this bill, aren't we?
I would say so, or at least parts of it. If we go to Count Dankula's tweet, this is him making fun of it for being pathetic. So the fact that it says in here that if you're doing a protest that can cause a serious annoyance or inconvenience...
So if a person doesn't act or admits to do an act they are required to do by any enactment of the rule of law, a person's act or omission causes serious harm to the public or section of the public, and this can include serious distress, serious annoyance, serious inconvenience, or serious loss of amenity... Don't know what that's supposed to mean. They can get 10 years or a fine or both.
Which is pretty extreme for a serious annoyance, but you also see in there can cause disease and then risk, obviously. So if you're at risk of causing disease, you could also be charged.
If you're breaking COVID down.
Yeah, which is the other...
You can get 10 years in prison. Years. Or if you've seriously annoyed or inconvenienced or distressed someone...
So this is meant to be aimed at, say, Extinction Rebellion protesters gluing themselves to tubes so then people can't move.
Oh, God, now I'm in favour of Extinction Rebellion.
10 years?
Oh.
In the world of when I said we were going to talk about other things, this is the kind of thing that I meant. It is becoming again popular to go, the right-wing populace and the left-wing populace both think that the people in charge of this stuff are bad. That means they agree on everything. No. Not even kind of. No. Not maybe, not sort of, not nearby. No. If you think, oh my God, elites are bad, therefore we need communism, we're not friends. We're never going to be friends. Look, I'm perfectly happy for you to expend whatever resources you can to make those people hurt. But we ain't friends, and we ain't working together, and there's not going to be a time where I'm going to go, oh man, I can't believe that those people are bad and they hate them too, so what I should do is become a communist. It's not happening. Quit trying, you losers.
Mayor Cooper,
Mayor Cooper. Your friends are voting for Mayor Cooper. The people know what they want, and what they want is Mayor Cooper.
Can somebody in the chat look up, did Mayor Cooper get elected anywhere?
Always at war with Eurasia, etc. We were always at war with Oceania, whatever it was. Time Stealer says, started watching late because I was being an aristocratic soul by walking in the nature reserve, saw a heron, coal's tit, wren, and willow warbler. So there we go. Time Stealer's been bird watching like
Nice.
Bill Oddie.
Very good way to pass the time instead of using Twitter.
Well, see some real tweets.
See what you did.
What, nepotism?
No, the African phrase.
Oh, Ubuntu. So I mean, like, it's up to you. I think that like people wouldn't need so much looking after if they looked after themselves. And so if you were like, well, I'm going to get an education, I'm going to work hard, I'm going to get a job, then you're going to be sat there going, well, actually, I don't have to spend all my time looking after my lazy, indolent, drunk family members, because they wouldn't be lazy, indolent, and drunk. They'd be working and not requiring me to look after them. And why the hell should it be on my shoulders? If it comes to that, if everyone else is being a layabout, it's like, why the hell should I do anything for you? Yeah. Oh, I saved up and bought a car. You're not entitled to that car.
I think they're basically dead now. Like
I don't watch them. I never did watch them.
I mean, I always watched them to try and like justify. I'm like, I really wanted to try to understand if Anna Kasparian was hot or not. Like, it vexed me because I was like, man,
I think she's pretty.
She's traditionally attractive.
Yeah, she's pretty. Whatever.
Yeah, but like, if she opens her mouth, then like the things that she says makes her instantly unattractive. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, and she's just. She's kind of coming around. I mean, watching the
is she though? Because I've seen her rant and rave about Tim, and it's always hilarious. Whenever people rant about Tim, it's hilarious because I know Tim personally.
Yeah, right.
So like I know things no one else does. So like I always get a giggle out of what people think about what goes on here, especially because I live here, so I know.
We live in hell, it feels like some days. Yeah, it does.
But if I am going to be forcefully disappeared from society for 2 weeks, I don't know what else to do.
Wow. Well, I tell you one thing I want to do with you at some point is Nixon tapes.
Yes.
I still want to do that. Oh yeah, and we people are calling for Cold War propaganda as well, Pharaoh. Maybe we'll look into that as well.
Yeah.
All right. Now get out. Oh, shit.
Still going.
By foundations of logic. You too can flail around like a bloody boomer. Okay, there it is.